When you're going out to kill somebody, if you're seen by a single other person on the trail, then that day's screwed.
In Cherokee County, Georgia, a sheriff's deputy stops to question a man parked on private hunting lands. At worst, the man is guilty of trespassing, or so the deputy thinks as he approaches.
Good, yourself, sir? What you doing out here?
Well, you're the fourth person to come along.
Am I?
And asked me that. I guess they called you, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
I just wanted a place to camp because I'm on my way to Cutter. I'm leaving. As a matter of fact, I'm getting my maps together. I got to buy some maps right now.
That's why I just came out to let you know this is lease hunting property, and they're very strict about who
I see that.
But behind this man's friendly demeanor is a calculating predator hiding bloody secrets and a lengthening trail of bodies.
Life has been sweet. We got to document it.
Look, I'm taking a picture of what I'm doing. Come for immortality right here.
If there's deer hunters around there, I can be wearing a purple shirt, that red backpack, and they're going to tell me I'm going to get shot. But, that's a common threat.
When you say, I won't kill anyone today, we'll just go hiking with my dog, have fun. We're doomed anyway.
I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. God almighty.
Can I get your ID real quick?
Yeah, you sure can. You see that fanny pack right there?
Yeah. Are there any weapons in that fanny pack?
Absolutely not, and I'm going to bring it to you.
The deputy follows the man back to his van, never suspecting for a moment that he is in the presence of a cold-blooded monster who was killed before and whose thirst for violence has not been quenched.
And when you get down to the bitter end, you ignore all the rules you set, which I did.
Oh, I do have an expanding command lane right there. Don't get nervous.
The following report is based on official police records, and most of the footage has never been seen before until now. The first sign of trouble in Leon County, Florida comes when 46-year-old nurse Cheryl Dunlap doesn't show up for her Sunday school class. But it's not until she misses work at Florida State University the next day, December 3, 2007, that her friend reports her missing. Her adult son goes by her house, hoping to find an innocent explanation.
The dog was still in there. What was your first thoughts? This ain't good. She's been missing for 2 days and that dog is still in there. That dog is everywhere with her. And if she's not taking it, she makes arrangements for it to be taken care of. Now, that dog was my brother, if you will.
Police soon realize that no one in Cheryl's life has heard from her since the morning of December 1st, 2 days earlier, when she told a friend she was going to the library. She was logged into the Wakulla County Public Library's computer system at 9:45 that morning, and she cashed a check for $100 at 11:15 a.m. After that, police know nothing. They ask her friends if she might have suddenly decided to leave it all behind.
She wanted to travel. Literally, her actual words was, she said, Laura, she said, I really want some adventure in my life. But she also said that she wanted them through missions. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about Cheryl is godly. You hear about people that are Christians, but she was the type person that she really, really, really tried to live this Christian life. I mean, the way the Bible said.
The idea that Cheryl walked away from her job, her friends, and her 2 sons doesn't seem likely, and the likelihood dims that afternoon when Cheryl's car is found parked off the road near Leon Sinks Geological Park. It's been abandoned. There's no sign of Cheryl or anyone else.
Then we got the call, said they found the car while we were there at the house. So we went there. I just sat there watching them process it for a little while. And I had heard over the radio that there was a foul odor coming from the trunk. So I wanted to go to see myself if it was or wasn't. So I stood around there and I couldn't smell nothing. So.
But there are troubling signs. Her purse and keys remain in the vehicle. Her belongings are scattered across the seat, and one of the rear tires is flat. When police take a closer look, alarm bells begin to sound. The tire appears to have been deliberately punctured. Signs of foul play are mounting, and it has Cheryl's friends in turmoil.
I've lost a brother suddenly. I've lost a sister. I've lost my mom and dad. And nothing has shaken me like this. Absolutely nothing.
Her son, meanwhile, reflects on a memory he fears may haunt him forever.
I started trying to call her and ask her opinions about what I should do with my life. She didn't have her phone on that day. And I was outside building the pen when she called back. And I told her I couldn't talk or anything.
was this?
A couple of weeks ago.
That was the last time you talked to her?
I didn't even talk to her.
But that's the last time you heard from her?
Cheryl Dunlap's picture is splashed across the local media. A couple reports seeing her at Leon Sinks on the afternoon of December 1st, sitting on a bench reading a book. From that point forward, her whereabouts are unknown. That is, until police learn from Cheryl's bank that her ATM card has been used 5 times between December 2nd and December 4th to make withdrawals totaling more than $700.
So if someone used the card, they would have to know it or either get it from her. It wouldn't be where they could just look at it and see it.
No. Probably the only way that she gave up that PIN number was either they threatened her life or her grandbaby's lives.
Investigators head to the bank's main branch to see if there's video, while also looking to the public for help.
Do you remember seeing a gentleman that might have roused your suspicion at all?
No, there's a lot of people come in here that rouses my suspicion. I look at every one of them.
Police have a long investigation in front of them, but what they see at Cheryl's bank makes it clear that there's no time to waste. In video of her recent ATM transactions, detectives see what they feared most. It's not Cheryl Dunlap using the ATM, but a shadowy figure wearing a disturbing homemade mask. Investigators note that the man is tall and thin, but that's not a lot to go on, even for those who know Cheryl best.
Any suspicions as far as people?
I can't imagine anybody. Because my mom's that type that everybody loves her. She doesn't have any enemies. She's not a Lulu that she just go disappearing. Even the description of the guy on the ATM machine, I can't think of anybody out of description. Skinny, tall, lanky. Can't think of anybody.
The identity of the man behind the mask remains a mystery. But a month later, more than 300 miles to the north, another woman would suddenly vanish. And this time, the monster wouldn't stay in the shadows. On January 1st, 2008, a 24-year-old Georgia woman named Meredith Emerson leaves a note for her roommate before heading off on a hike with her black lab, Ella. When she still hasn't returned by the next morning, her roommate files a report with the Union County Sheriff's Office. Meredith's boyfriend goes looking for her car, which he finds in one of the parking lots at Blood Mountain, one of Meredith's favorite hiking spots. He leaves a note on her car and, with the eventual help of friends and police, begins searching the trails and the surrounding wilderness. Soon, news of her disappearance is statewide, as an investigator with the Dawson County Public Defender's Office told EWU.
It hit the papers here because where she went missing is not far from here. So the county was put on full alert. I mean, we were aware of the case probably as soon as she was declared missing.
But despite the intense search effort, there's no sign of Meredith. Investigators talked to several people who saw Meredith on the mountain on New Year's Day, and it turns out they noticed something else as well. An older man lurking nearby. One witness says he even came across a suspicious scene a few minutes after seeing the two. A disturbed portion of the hiking trail, as if there had been a struggle. Left behind on the ground were several items, including water bottles, a dog leash, and most ominously of all, an expendable police baton. Witnesses described the man they saw with Meredith, a 60-year-old white male, around 5 foot 10 inches, 160 pounds. And they mention another fact as well. He had a large reddish dog with him. Police share these details with the local media, and the tips start rolling in. Could this man be responsible for Meredith's disappearance? Could he even be the same sinister figure seen taking money out of Cheryl Dunlap's bank account a month earlier? The cases are eerily similar. 2 women alone by themselves on national forest land, and now both of them missing. In Leon County, Florida, the tips in Cheryl's case are beginning to take on a familiar shape.
Ran into this man and his white van, and his dog started barking at us. A big dog, kind of reddish, brownish hair, long hair, I guess.
Again and again, witnesses come forward to describe a very specific man they saw in the area, and most of them agree that it was late November 2007, only days before Cheryl Dunlap went missing.
And we saw an old man, skinny, I remember he was skinny, looked homeless, walking towards us.
A gentleman was standing in front of it and said hello, and he engaged in conversation immediately. I noticed stuff strewn around the campsite, and the most prominent thing was a beautiful dark red Irish setter.
This gentleman with his dog approached me coming out of the woods, and it made me nervous. He had this big long knife strapped to his side. The dog was looked like a golden retriever, but it was like a dark rust color.
Probably 5'9", 5'10". He's an older man.
Scruffy in the face, maybe missing a couple of teeth in the front.
He gave me the creeps when I saw him.
He weirded us out so much that, I was just joking, completely joking around when I said this, but when we left, I was like, man, that guy's killed like 10 people.
An older man, a white van, a red dog. The details coming in are consistent, first in Florida and then a month later in the Georgia mountains. But it's not until a businessman named John Tabor hears the news that police are finally able to put a name to this phantom. Tabor calls the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's tip line and says the man they're looking for used to work for him selling house siding, right up until the day he demanded money and threatened to kill him. The man drives a white Chevrolet Astro van, and he has a red golden retriever he calls Dandy. His name, Tabor tells them, is Gary Michael Hilton. And that's when things start to move very quickly. Armed with this new information, the GBI finds Hilton's driver's license records in the system, and they send out an updated Be on the Lookout report to law enforcement and the general public that includes his name and photograph. Hilton is labeled a person of interest in Meredith Emerson's disappearance, and investigators hope to find him before it's too late. Unfortunately, in the Florida case of Cheryl Dunlap, hope has already run out.
I drove up in there to where I like to walk the dogs in, and I seen some buzzards fly up just right beside the road.
On December 15, 2007, 14 days after Cheryl Dunlap was last seen, a hunter comes upon a tragic discovery in the forest.
I told my son to stay in the truck to, let me see what the buzzards was doing. And I walked out there, and it appeared to be a human body. At first, all I could see was just maybe the torso. I didn't see a head. All I could see was from maybe neck to waist.
Okay.
And I thought it was a deer to start with. And when I looked at it, I seen the leg and the foot sticking out, and I knew what it was then.
The body is nude and is already significantly decomposed. It is found deep in the forest off the main roads.
It appeared to have been somebody tried to cover it up.
Police find the body covered in tree limbs and palmetto fronds from the surrounding woods, but that's not enough to hide the damage that has been done to this woman. Her hands have been removed. Her nipples have been cut off. She's been decapitated and left out here to rot. Because of the advanced decomposition in the missing head, the medical examiner could only label the cause of death as undetermined homicidal violence. 4 days later, the Leon County Sheriff's Office holds a press conference to announce the grim news the community had feared. The body in the woods belongs to Cheryl Dunlap. Authorities in Georgia are desperate to catch up to Gary Hilton before the same fate befalls Meredith Emerson. On January 4th, 3 days since her disappearance, there's a development. A black lab is spotted walking into a Kroger supermarket in Cumming, Georgia. It's chipped, and before the day is through, they've identified it as Ella, Meredith's dog. When Meredith's father speaks to the press, he says, "We're happy that Ella has been found, but Meredith is still out there." Later that day, a woman reports that Gary Hilton called her wanting money. The return number comes from a payphone, and police quickly track it to a Quick Trip in Cumming, just across the street from where Ella was found. They process the payphone for evidence, but it's what they find in the nearby dumpster that gives them a shock. A woman's purse, bloody clothing, and a wallet with identification cards inside. The driver's license and student ID cards belong to Meredith Emerson. If the hunt for Gary Hilton could ever become more intense, it just did. And that night, police get the 911 calls they've been hoping for.
Hi, I'm calling from Cadenbridge Square Shopping Center, and I'm calling about that person, Gary Hilton, in connection with the woman that's missing.
A man matching Gary Hilton's description has been spotted at a Chevron station in Chamblee, Georgia, approximately 30 miles south of Cumming.
But I'm walking my dog, and at the gas station up here, there's a white van and a red dog wandering around like his red dog.
It's definitely him. The van is there. The dog is there. I saw his face.
He's got a whole bunch of stuff he's pulling out like he's living out of his van, pulling out and organizing his stuff in his van.
He's throwing stuff in the dumpster here. He's making multiple trips back to his van and getting out and taking it to a dumpster.
114 and unit, Sergeant Crow. We're around to that location. Set a PIB.
It's definitely him. He's looking around like he is as guilty as sin.
He's going to be gone if somebody doesn't get here.
I can go take him down if you want.
No, sir. Stay right there.
Okay. He looks like he's finishing up. You guys got to hurry. Oh, I'm just shaking. Here we go. Here comes the cop. Yes. Yes.
Police are there?
Yes. Yes. They got him.
Hilton goes flat on the ground immediately and is taken into custody. The police also secure his van and his now famous red dog, Dandy. But while the arrest goes off without a hitch, every officer on scene can see for themselves the unsettling truth. Meredith Emerson is nowhere to be found. Hilton is taken to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, where he lies prone on the floor, unwilling to cooperate and complaining of pain from multiple sclerosis.
Mr. Hilton, my name's Clay Bridges. I'm a special agent with the GBI. Over the past couple of days, I've come to know you pretty good. I've spoken with numerous people who say that you're extremely healthy, extremely smart, very intelligent, almost genius level. I would prefer to talk to you if you were kind of sitting up and I could look at you a little bit. And I understand that you're a distance runner and that you are a very healthy individual.
With Hilton unwilling to answer questions, the agent says something that is perhaps intended to get a reaction.
Well, I tell you, it's a whole lot warmer down here than it was up on Blood Mountain.
But Hilton doesn't take the bait, and neither the GBI nor the doctors can get him to talk.
We're going to take really good care of you, okay? Basically.
Like you already have.
Yes, sir. Do you feel like you've been mistreated?
Yes, I have.
When was the last time you had a good meal?
I'm through talking to you. I'm making those statements. I don't want to be interrogated anymore.
Well, if you don't want to talk to me, then I'm going to make the decision that right now you're not an immediate life threat and that you could possibly stay here with these gentlemen, continue doing with them what they need to do with you, okay?
Put me back in the handcuffs.
There are many signs that Hilton has been in an altercation, including a cut on his nose and a badly swollen right hand. GBI agent Clay Bridges leaves Hilton with a final thought.
Remember what I told you about Meredith? You need to go ahead and just tell us where she's at, okay? That's so much more in your favor.
Aside from it being the right thing to do.
Hilton isn't moved by this appeal to his conscience, which is perhaps not surprising if he's the man guilty of killing Cheryl Dunlap in Florida. And the evidence is growing. The tips keep coming in Leon County, and police search campsites near where Hilton was reportedly seen. At one, they make a horrifying discovery: a burn pit, amongst which they find charred finger bones and skull fragments. The limited remains make DNA identification impossible, but police are almost certain that the remains belong to Cheryl. And it won't be long before evidence in the Meredith Emerson case draws an undeniable line between the two women. With Hilton unwilling to talk, police in Georgia focus on his van. Since Hilton has been living in the Chevy Astro for a long time, there's no shortage of things to look through. And along the way, they come up with a fascinating discovery: a Sony digital camera and several memory sticks containing some very interesting videos.
Look, I'm taking a picture, what, Andy? Come for immortality right there. Good. The camera's right there. As Pruitt would say. Oh, yeah.
These home videos give investigators an unprecedented look into the life of a violent drifter.
Yeah, he's just a real red, and he has that Irish confirmation also. Okay, come on, honey. Let's get. Good boy. Now you got to stay out here. Okay, now we're going to get ready after he's greeted, and we'll be all happy. You got to stay right here, Wawa. You do.
The police will soon discover much darker recordings on the memory sticks. For now, they charge Gary Hilton with kidnapping in the Meredith Emerson case. It remains to be seen if additional charges will follow. As police transport Hilton to the Union County Jail in Georgia, his attitude has improved, but his willingness to answer questions about Meredith's whereabouts has not.
You guys are pissed at me, so hey, I ain't. You get the cops pissed off, man. You must be bad.
All right, now you ain't gonna do nothing squirrely on
Oh,
us, right?
yeah, like I can whip you. Sure. He's sitting there with one gun in the holster and the other in his seat. I mean, Jesus Christ. He's gonna turn around and cap me.
I am okay, totally. I was trying to figure out who I was going to give my dog to before I turned myself in. I saw the paper. I caught the paper.
You're going to turn yourself in?
I saw the paper. I saw that. I saw I was on the front page of the paper. You know.
It didn't seem like you were going to turn yourself in.
Well, hey, you know something? I'm making statements, and I ain't making no statements.
But Hilton's position on answering questions will soon shift, and agents with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation will finally get a deep look into one of the most sinister minds they've ever come in contact with. In hours of interviews, they'll begin to piece together what happened to Meredith that day on Blood Mountain, and what they hear from Gary Hilton changes everything.
Since I was 4 years old, my earliest thoughts were of death. I said, you know something, no one's even missed you. And she said, boy, I'd be mad if once you let me go, and I came back and my boyfriend said, have you been gone? I spent 3 days with her. We had long talks about everything. I gave her a book to read. It was kind of like the Lone Ranger. And the Lone Ranger would come galloping into town. They would always say,
who was that masked man?
Yeah, who was that masked man? Okay, that's what I do to society.
Hilton admits that some of what is driving him to talk is the kidnapping charge, which he believes will likely put him away for the rest of his life.
They had me on the kidnapping, and it was going to stick. The evidence was good. Right out of the dumpster. It was just a smoking gun. They had me.
The investigators take a low-pressure approach to the interviews, which gives Hilton all the room he needs to expand on every topic he can think of, including his history of conflicts with the other dog owners he meets while hiking.
The average dog owner doesn't know jack about dogs. The average animal control officer doesn't know jack about dogs. They anthropomorphize. That means assigning human qualities to something. Anthropomorphic. Okay? And they assign human qualities to dogs. And what that means is that they want dogs to be like humans, which is be nice and get along. Well, that's not the way it is in the dog world. Because when dogs talk to each other, you know, they quite often revert back to the wolf world. And the wolf world is more incredibly savage and brutal than you can ever imagine. Humans don't understand that in the dog world or the wolf world, there are no assault and battery laws. There are no murder laws. And quite often, there is no fear. Okay, imagine such a world where there's no murder laws.
Before Hilton can go too deeply into his fantasy of a world without laws, he explains how to handle confrontations with dogs and their owners.
My goal in a stick fight with a human or a dog is not to make contact with the dog. A successful stick fight is preventative. To me, is shaping it with a stick and not making contact. Because it takes it to a whole other level when you make, especially with a human being. You hit a human being with a stick, regardless of the situation, it's probably going to ruin your day, buddy. And it may not go your way either, even though it always has. I've had the police call on me 30 times at least, and no exaggeration, in 17 years.
Hilton's history with the police is well documented, and not all of it concerns other dogs. He has a history of theft, telephone fraud, arson, and was even accused at one point of attempting to murder his own stepfather. His conflicts with the law haven't settled in recent years, as demonstrated by police dash cams and his own home videos.
What do you have on your hands there?
Don't ask me, man. He's about to take off. Sir? Okay, look. I've been nothing but respectful for you, but if you're gonna continue to create a problem, we can take it to the next level.
Putting out leaflet soliciting? Yes. You're the lawman, you are the law. I'm going to check it out, and if it ain't the law and you're wrong,
you come talk to me.
I'm not talking to nobody. I'm filing and I'm suing because you're interrupting my work.
Go right ahead.
But it's one particular encounter with the cops that catches the public's attention after his arrest.
You bumped into a Cherokee County deputy up on some private hunting property back in, it was October or something, and that was widely publicized.
I've got maps of the area, and I was headed to Cohutta, from Lawrenceville, but I'm out of Chamblee.
Okay.
And I camped out here 20 years ago. I can show you, I got a WMA map right now.
You may have. 20 years ago,
Yeah.
it probably was okay.
When the footage comes out, cops working the Cheryl Dunlap case notice the cap Hilton is wearing. It bears a striking resemblance to the one in the ATM footage from Leon County.
You know, I just wanted to place a camp because I'm on my way to Cohutta. I'm leaving. As a matter of fact, I'm getting my maps together. I got to buy some maps right now.
Did you hear, did he get on tape my joke about deer hunters?
Yeah.
What's the 3 reasons the deer hunter goes into? Yeah. I made that up. I'm a comedian too.
But I have a little joke about these southern outdoorsmen. They come out in the woods for 3 reasons. One is to get drunk. The other is to poach, and the other is to change the oil in their truck. I'm sorry. I just stopped it.
But though Hilton has suspicious items in his possession,
Oh, I do have an expanding command lane right there. Don't get nervous. I won't get out of the truck without it, man.
the deputy lets him go on his way, unaware that he's releasing a vicious predator back into the wild.
Is it almost like a little acting on your behalf to, I don't know, kind of steer this law enforcement officer away from you, or?
Well, with him, no. I was being perfectly candid with him.
Hilton says that certain police officers will immediately recognize when they're dealing with a pro.
You and I were talking earlier, and you described yourself as a pro. And I mean, in talking about that, I, as a police officer, when you and I encounter one another, I'm going to know you're not. And I know what you mean, but how do you define that? As far as how are you a pro?
I'm a pro in that I'm not just styling. You see, the average civilian, their entire life is a style. Nothing is real. They're talking the talk and they're not walking the walk. And they're styling. And that's why you see posers. That's my word. Perfectly precious posers. That's what yuppies are.
Hey, I love you. Mr. Hilton, you take care. Be safe.
There's a large number of police officers that are highly experienced.
Right.
And that they are pros.
Right.
And they recognize a pro when they see a pro.
Right.
And I'm a pro.
This wouldn't be the last time Hilton would manage to keep his true nature hidden from law enforcement in the closing months of 2007. On November 17th, only 2 weeks before Cheryl Dunlap went missing, a Forest Service ranger spoke to him near a campsite in Leon County.
From what he told me, he was returning to his campsite, and he was walking along the road. He had a dog and a walking stick.
The ranger runs the tag on his white Chevy Astro parked back at the campsite.
Who did the van come back to?
It came back to Gary Michael Hilton.
It will soon come to light that Hilton already had blood on his hands before speaking to these officers. Nonetheless, he's in custody now, and then a series of audio and video interviews with the GBI, he will finally reveal the full story behind what happened New Year's Day on Blood Mountain.
But anyway, it's a good place to hunt in that you have a huge selection. But it's a bad place to hunt in that you
Because they have a lot of people.
People. So the way you would do it.
Witnesses.
So the way you would do it would be to lurk in a blind, so to speak, off the trail, observe with binoculars, and lurk. But I didn't do that either because I like to hike.
What I'd like to know is how accomplished of a hiker are you?
Oh.
I mean, you've been to.
But I'm going to tell you something. I want to tell you something. I've never met anyone, ever, and people are full of on this too, but I've never met anyone anywhere, any way, that has the time in the woods and the time on the trail that I have. I've never worked full-time anyway in my life, except for the U.S. Army.
Hilton was enlisted in the Army as a young man before being discharged for demonstrating symptoms of psychosis, an early glimpse of the darkness to come.
Did you know Meredith Emerson before the other day?
No.
Okay. At what time or when did you first become aware of her, or when did you first see her?
On the mountain, at the intersection of the Herbert Reef Connector Trail and the AT, at that intersection.
How did you strike up a conversation with her or whatever?
Dogs, you know, people that have dogs, dogs are going to meet. And anytime I encounter someone with a loose dog specifically, which both of ours were, a larger dog, I immediately determine the sex of the dog because I have a male, and I don't allow my dog to meet adult males.
So you asked her what sex her dog was?
Or, yeah, that kind of thing. And she stopped at that location to eat and eat some trail mix and to give her dog water.
After a brief exchange, the two continued hiking, and the 24-year-old athlete quickly put distance between herself and Hilton. But soon enough, Meredith would come back down the trail, and this time, Hilton would be ready.
Did you form an opinion at that point, or did you form an idea at that point that you wanted to abduct her at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was driven really by nothing but, well, the desire to obtain her card.
That was the sole purpose? You wanted her card number?
Yeah, and rather than pick a guy who would, or a couple, with a guy who might really fight, you know, because if you want a card and PIN number and the guy fights and you got to kill him, well, where you at, you know? So I felt it would be, I knew it would be easier to establish control over a female, any female, than it would a male. It's not that I couldn't whip a male, but once you whip him, you might be left holding an empty bag.
Hilton's aside about his ability to take on a man is perhaps unsurprising given his many thoughts about masculinity and the differences between the genders.
But that's what a woman wants you to do as an adult, is to play house, okay, and to have children. How many 9-year-old boys, now, don't get me wrong, I understand that for many men, having children is the greatest thing in their life, but nevertheless, how many 9-year-old boys have you known that have said, oh, you know, I don't want to be a soldier, a pilot, or an astronaut. I want to grow up and have a family. Bull. You may look at any man's home. It ain't a man's home. It's a woman's home. And what is this man thing? Having a nice lawn. Oh, Jesus Christ, give me a break. Out there cutting grass and digging in the dirt like an animal.
According to Gary, it all comes down to an imbalance of power.
Part of my dislike, or I wouldn't call it hatred, but almost, for women is that they have all the advantages. And that's how they get men to do what they want them to do.
Oh, yeah?
Always, yeah. Either you do what I want, or in the end, I'm going to give it to someone else. For women to threaten to give it away, that's what I mean. And for them to let you know that they could give it away, and they have given it away, increases the value of it. However, it's
marketing.
But a sophisticated woman understands that to threaten to give it away increases the value, and actually giving it away to someone else decreases the value. And some women aren't smart enough to know the difference, and they f up that way.
It's not just Gary's thoughts on women that cast doubt on his narrative that he only confronted Meredith for her bank cards. It's also the fact that no money has been withdrawn from her account. But as the investigators soon learn, Meredith Emerson is not a woman to be trifled with.
The act occurred, the demand occurred at the point where the water bottles and batons were found in Ladies and Dog Street. That's where the demand occurred.
Okay, and by demand, what do you say? What did you say?
Credit cards and PIN number.
Okay, and when you did that, and when you said that, did you produce the baton, or
no.
what did you produce?
A knife, bayonet. The bayonet is probably still up there. I lost control of both. She fought. And as I read in the paper, she's a martial artist. I read in the paper she practiced martial arts.
Okay.
And she fought. And she grabbed the knife.
Okay.
I lost control of the knife.
Okay.
And she grabbed the knife blade and very slightly cut her hand on the webbing between her thumb and forefinger. I was not aware of that till later on. And I said, where'd you get that cut at? She said, when I grabbed the knife.
Okay.
But she grabbed the knife and fought.
Okay.
And then I produced the baton.
Okay.
She fought that, and I lost control of the baton. And I'm good too with this girl. I think it was you probably. One of the GBIs said that little 120-pound girl about probably close to whip your. Well, she about did.
But Gary can't admit that he was in any real trouble, not to the investigators, and perhaps not even to himself.
It was not my finest hour. It was not my, I mean, I'm better than that. I am, but I found out she was a black belt, too, which don't mean, again, they're styling these black belts. They're styling. They're not fighters. They're learning to do some little, but on the other hand, doing that kind of thing does increase your coordination, your hand-eye, etc., and it gets you more used to hand-to-hand combat as opposed to an untrained person, even though they're not really fighters, and she didn't do no. It's just that she was real quick with her hands and had no hesitation about grabbing weapons and everything. And not only that, she was hard to subdue. She fought like hell, man. Fought and fought and fought and fought. And then once I gained control over her and got her 10 to 15 feet away from the trail on that little side trail I told you about, she started fighting again.
But what Gary characterizes as a fight sounds more like a merciless beating.
I had to hand fight her. and that's where I got this hand. I probably have multiple fractures in my right hand now.
Okay.
However, I'm not in pain, and I don't think any of them are displaced. I had to hand fight her, and I still couldn't get control of her. She would feign or pretend that I was in control and then start fighting again.
Right.
So I had to hit her a number of times.
Now you hit her every time with your right hand, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
These are straight in punches.
In the face, or?
Yeah, or the head.
Okay.
As to what extent she was injured, her two eyes were somewhat blackened. She may or may not have a fractured nose. I checked with her a number of times, and she was not in any pain other than, afterwards, she was not in any pain other than a headache. I offered her and gave her aspirin.
Hilton tells the investigators that once they were safely off the trail, he was able to finally subdue her.
So I got control of her again, quieted her down, got control of her again, and I kept her moving down that close trail around the corner of the mountain, so to speak. And at that point, I produced like a duck tie. It's like handcuffs that police use.
Zip tie?
Zip tie, yeah. Okay. Except these were just commercial zip ties, 18-inch zip ties.
You remember what color they were?
Yeah, black. They're not there anymore. You'll probably find them in the dumpster, I believe, probably. Yeah.
Did you have a rubber band around them?
Yeah.
Okay, we did find one up there.
I don't know. Oh, you did? So I zip tied her to a tree, and I knew that I had to go and clean the crime scene.
Hilton's use of zip ties in Meredith's abduction draws another connection to the Cheryl Dunlap case. Investigators searching several of Hilton's Leon County campsites find a number of items he left behind, and zip ties are prominently among them. But it's something else that Hilton leaves on Blood Mountain that will make the connection undeniable.
Told her to be quiet and stay.
Okay.
And went back to clean the crime scene, but it had already been found.
Okay, by that time it had already been found?
I saw there were three hikers that had found the things, and they were no longer there.
Okay.
And they were headed down slope, and they were looking...
Were you crouching behind a rock at that point?
Looking at them? And looking at them, and then I laid down flat in the trail above them. Because if a trail is cut into a slope and someone's below, if you lay in the flat, you're depilated or inflated, so to speak. And I laid down in the trail at that point, and the stuff was gone.
Among the items Hilton lost on the mountain were his expanding police baton, Meredith's leash and water bottles, and the dagger-like knife he calls a bayonet. When investigators with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement compare the blade of the bayonet to the hole in Cheryl Dunlap's tire, any doubt is put to rest. It's an exact match.
If I'd been back to the crime scene just a few minutes sooner, just several minutes sooner, I would have beat those people that found the bat, and I would have picked it up. But as it was, I had to fight her twice, bring her all the way around the corner of the mountain, and then secure her to a tree, in spite of her protestations, and then go back for it. So she caught me fair and square. Yeah.
Now, one thing I didn't ask you about this, since you're on that point, one thing I didn't ask you about, did you have to put something to keep her quiet, a gag, so to speak, or anything like that? No. Was she unconscious at that point?
Never.
Well, I'm wondering why she wasn't yelling when you zip tied her to a tree, and when you went back to clean the crime scene is what I'm getting at.
There comes a point they fight, and then they submit.
Right.
And a lot of it is because of me.
Right.
I reassure them. That it's going to be okay, but just quit fighting or you're going to get hurt. I tell them, listen, honey, I'm going to spend life in prison just because you said no.
Gary has a great many ideas about how a victim should behave under Meredith's circumstances.
But, the advice to people if they're abducted is to engage your abductor and to make yourself a person to them and not have them think of you as an object. To engage them, to tell them your name, to tell them about yourself, tell them about your family, tell your abductor that. Tell them what you study, what your dreams and hopes and plans and schemes are, and try to engage them and make yourself a person rather than an object, because the abductor is psychopathic. He's looking at you in a human way. You want to make yourself a human. No, it was always me. It was always me engaging them. First thing I ask them is, what kind of music you like? What's your favorite song? What do you do for work? Where'd you go to school? What do you like to do? And talk to them. It calms them down. It calms them down. But none of them ever did that to me.
Hilton tells the investigators that he would act much differently if put in that position.
She never once told me, hey, my name is Meredith. I mean, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be pitching a guy like hell. They don't even pitch me. Like, really, I won't say a word, just, I'd be saying, hey, listen, hey, no sweat, listen, I'll tell them you had me blindfolded all the time. I didn't even see nothing. I don't know a thing. I have no good. Hey, I'm not even going to report this. Hey, just cut me loose, cut me loose as soon as you can. If I can get back for big alarms raised, I'll never even report. I'd be pitching the whole damn time.
Meredith, who wasn't fortunate enough to have Hilton's instructions on how to be a victim, is subdued by other means.
What did you do at that point?
Went back to her and cut her loose. And she was not tied at all, except I put a loop around her neck.
Oh, what kind of loop?
Just a nylon cord, 300-pound test. Just wasn't even tied. It was like a loop.
I put a loop line around her neck, and just like a leash, like a dog's leash, and that's the only way she was secured, okay? And I told her that I had a gun, and that, I was going to shoot her. Now, I didn't have a gun, but I had a BB pistol that looked like a gun, and I was going to shoot her down, and, she took off running or something, because, I got to do that, because most girls could probably outrun me. Not that fast. And after that, from then on, she totally cooperated. We traversed the Blood Mountain through the stick stuff, down through the drainage, up, and everything. She was totally cooperative with me and everything.
Let me ask you this. At this point, was her hands free?
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't have those zip tied? No, you just had the noose.
Yes, and I told her I had a pistol, which I did, but I told her I had a firearm, and that I would shoot her. By that time, and from that time on, she was compliant, totally compliant. And I was solicitous of her behavior, of her condition, and of her comfort from then on also. My intent was not to torture.
Hilton says that he took Meredith down the mountain before tying her to another tree and again making what he calls the demand.
I told her, I was going to have to get her cards and PIN number out of the car, which was in her purse, under the seat.
Let me back up. Did she tell you where her purse and PIN or cards were?
Yeah.
Okay. And she told you where her cards were at that point? Or?
Yeah. She told me incorrectly, but it was just under the wrong seat. She said under the driver's seat. It was actually under the passenger seat.
Okay.
Hilton says he approached the parking lot cautiously, knowing there was a chance that the hikers above had called the police. When he arrives, however, the coast is clear, and he moves his van next to her car.
So I walked her up next to her car, opened the side door of my van, and put her in my van. And then took a chain, put her in my van and laid her down. And I had 2 lengths of chain padlocked to the seat mounting, the front seat mountings. One chain padlock, in other words, the seat mount, where the seat is attached to the car. Both those chains were padlocked by one end to the seat mounting.
What did she say to you? Did she say anything at that point?
She said, they told me not to get in the van, not getting in or in a vehicle or so. I said, get in. So she did. And then I determined from her where her purse was, which was under the passenger rather than the driver's side.
Okay. Did you have to force her into the van, or did she cooperate at that point?
No, she protested, but
I mean,
she was compliant from, there was no physical force at any time after that.
Okay.
After that, up on the mountain.
Oh, okay. So she protested and said...
they told me not to get in a vehicle. I said, get in the damn thing.
And she went in? Okay.
Gary says that after Meredith was secured by chains in his van, he put her dog Ella in her car before heading to nearby Blairsville with the intention of finding an ATM. But soon, Gary says he had a change of heart.
Got several miles away as we were driving away, and she's still voicing concern about her dog. I wanted her to be calm and, you know, could be, and I knew she was anxious about her dog. So I said, well, do you want me to go back and get your dog? She said yes. So I turned around, went back, and got her dog.
Of all the details Gary has given thus far, this act of kindness is perhaps the hardest to believe, and yet the investigators know that it must be at least partially true, because Ella was finally found in Cumming, nearly 50 miles south of Blood Mountain. Then again, Gary appears to have a compassion for dogs that doesn't extend to humans.
People are enculturated and programmed to only believe that life is valid if they're doing it with others. So the problem with these poor loners, these sociopaths, is they're so programmed like that in spite of themselves, they don't know themselves. They don't understand that there's no hope for them. They don't understand that they're a round peg in a square hole and that they're never going to fit in. They don't understand that there's no way in the world that they are going to get real satisfaction out of a human relationship. I didn't understand myself until 21, actually when I got a dog. And all of a sudden I was no longer alone, and I didn't have that wrenching sense of loneliness and being alone, but yet there would be no salvation in the company of others. You're alone, your life is empty, alone, lonely, but there's no salvation or satisfaction in the company of others. It's a terrible, I see many, those are the worst kind of people. They're tragically unhappy.
Of course, Gary's thoughts on the errors of humanity go well beyond sociopaths like himself.
And there's a psychiatric school of thought that says existential anxiety is responsible for most of human neurosis. Yeah. Because we're the only...
That bothered you back then?
Since I was 4 years old, my earliest thoughts were of death and that I was going to die.
Really?
When I was 4 years old, I could place it because of the situation I was in when I thought it. And when I was 4 years old, I can remember looking at my hand and pondering the fact that this hand one day will be a skeleton. Yeah, when I was 4 years old.
What was the situation, if you don't mind that?
No, it was an intellectual thought. It was the awareness of my future non-being. Okay. The humans are the only animal that I know of that really has to cope with it, although it's really hard to tell. But it's a tremendous psychic load. It's the knowledge of our future non-being or the inevitability of our death is the thing that shapes our entire life.
Rather than lure Hilton back to the point, the investigators appeal to his ego.
All your travels and camping and stuff, you get by yourself, you get a lot of time to think. And
that's the thing. People
gain a lot of insight, don't you?
Lawyers and everyone else ask me constantly, how come you're so seemingly intelligent? Are you well-read? Are you well-educated? You're right. You hit it right on the head. That's very perceptive of you. The reason I'm so seemingly intelligent is that I, alone amongst almost anyone, including you dudes, have time to actually stop and think about things. You don't have time to stop and think about things. You are so busy distracting yourself because you're running from really the reality of this situation, which is you're going to die. And you are so busy just frantically, desperately distracting yourself with every kind of thing in the world, including your work. Now again, I'm not judging you. I mean, you're just human beings. That's all you are. You're just human beings, and God bless you.
Gary says that his time in the woods has given shape to his character.
You got time to think. That's one of my personalities. I'm a philosopher, I'm a soldier, I'm a scientist, and I'm an artist. And those are all distinct personality types that represent distinctly different things. And I'm all of them.
What's your artistic side? What do you mean by artist?
Well, by artist, I mean truly in the sense of being an artist, in that you see everything in terms of not the linear, but the impression of it, and so forth. And as far as a medium goes, I'm an artist that people ask me, I tell them I'm an artist, and they say, well, what's your medium? Are you a sculptor or a drawer? No, my art is my life, and my art is weird. No. Laugh! I'm an artist. My art is my life, and my art is weird.
I'm actually buying into this.
Of course, it's true. It's all true. When it's true, it's real. Everything I'm telling you is true. Everything I'm telling you is real. It exists. It's true.
Hilton tells them that he even made the decision to yank some of his teeth out for the purpose of his art, and of course, to stand out even more from the rest of society.
They're grinning idiots. I call it a dental display, is what I call it. It's like chimpanzees and other apes, they do a genital display. You ever see a chimpanzee in a zoo look like that? That's a genital display. Well, they do a dental display. That's why I love my teeth. These are both artistic, philosophical statements, and they're practical, too. If someone's with me, I'll go, "You're pretty." Like that. It scares out of any damn disability. They know I'm for real. I ain't no yuppie. See, I ain't posing. These are I got my fighting teeth in. And I present this fantastical spectacle to people, but I understand. They can't understand it because it's so fantastical. It's kind of like the Lone Ranger. And the Lone Ranger would come galloping into town. There would be all the schmuck townspeople, right? And here the Lone Ranger would be wearing this mask, a skin-tight outfit, a really elaborate two-gun rig mounted with silver with chrome pistols, and just a theatrical outfit. He'd be mounted on this beautiful Palomino. He'd have this trippy Indian named Tonto with him. You know what I'm talking about? And if the Lone Ranger would ride out again, what would they always say about the Lone Ranger? You don't remember. They would always say,
"Who was that masked man?"
Yeah, who was that masked man? Okay, that's what I do to society.
Though many of his home videos show Gary alone with Dandy, some of them do show him interacting with others, such as this Papa John's manager who seemed less than impressed with Hilton's version of the mysterious stranger.
You tell these guys to quit terror driving. You tell them not to drive more than 5 miles an hour above the limit. You tell them to keep at least a vehicle length, at least, and it should be one vehicle for every 10 miles an hour.
If this is Hilton affecting society at large like the Lone Ranger, one can only imagine the impression he made on Meredith Emerson. But while the 24-year-old may have no longer physically resisted Hilton after Blood Mountain, she wasn't done fighting him.
I was saying that when it comes to individual human beings, the answer is really simple. I simplify groups of human beings, and you really have to, actually, to preserve your scalp, for that matter. You have to make broad judgments about groups of human beings, but always understanding that individual human beings, the answer is rarely simple. It rarely is.
The individual Hilton abducted on that mountain still has some surprises in store. And when Hilton prepares to drain Meredith's bank account like he did Cheryl's, he realizes it won't be quite so easy.
Went to the Appalachian Bank, attempted to run the cards.
And they didn't work?
Didn't work. I parked across the street.
How many cards did you use?
I had 3, but I'm really not sure because she had me run them so many times that I'm not. She had me run them in Blairsville, and then I went to Gainesville, then I went to Canton.
Well, let's
tried multiple times. Right. Card wouldn't work. It was either invalid or unauthorized, one or the other. So I came back, went back to the van. I said, "Honey, I'll go." She danced me around with 2 more PIN numbers. Well, I think I did this, or I just changed it over, and I'm not sure, and this and that, and I changed it, and blah, 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 blah. Go try it again. It'll work. This number, give me another 2 numbers. Not working, huh? You might as well just give it up. I don't know what the purpose of this, etc.
Meredith convinces Hilton that he may need to try at another bank.
4 or 5 times she kept trying to convince you that it would work?
She did convince me. Right. She ran me back. I'd go try it like an idiot. I'm, like some eternal optimist. I had to go out of the van, walk the 100 yards or wherever to it, run it, come back. She'd give me some other story, or another card. Right. I got 3 of them to work with. Right. I don't know why the reason for all this was. I told her later, I said, I'm not even going to ask you why. It's just that I'll never understand what the purpose of you've been doing this for.
It may be that Meredith's strategy was twofold. 1, as long as he didn't have access to her accounts, her life remained valuable to Hilton. 2, every failed ATM transaction left a digital footprint, potentially giving police a direct line to their location.
Did you attempt to conceal your face in any way when
Yes,
you
I did conceal my face.
How did you conceal your face?
Held a towel over my face.
It's another chilling echo to the Cheryl Dunlap case in Florida. The only question is whether Meredith's resistance would allow her to escape Cheryl's grisly fate.
So when you left the bank attempts down in Gainesville, which way did you go?
Back to Dahlonega.
Okay.
Now it's too late, and I've had it. I'm like in the shape I am now, you know. With the MS, some days I can't get out of bed, and then some days I'm good for a few hours, and my time was up.
Okay.
As far as being able to function or even think. And I started north with the object of getting a campsite somewhere.
Gary says they found a place to camp that first night in Dahlonega, Georgia, but not before a close call nearly put a quick end to his plans.
Okay. And the snow was coming in at higher elevations, and it was accumulating rapidly. And there was probably 2 inches on the ground on the road very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was losing traction and control.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came around the curve, and the car had sort of slid off the road, and there was a sheriff's deputy there, car with his blue light, and turned around and went back down just right past the sheriff's deputy again.
Okay.
She saw the blue light and everything, and was only loosely secured.
Having eluded law enforcement, Hilton made camp with his hostage.
Camp there, I gave her the best bag. I gave her the mattress that didn't leak. I got a +5 degree bag. I had 5 bags with me, but, you know, each dog got a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Each dog got a 20 degree bag.
Where did you camp, in the van or outside?
Yeah, she helped me offload the van. Okay. I just unchanged. She was free after. She was only secured while we were moving. She was not tied up. And while we were asleep, I would tie a long length of nylon cord around her ankles, quadruple knotted, and then quadruple knotted at an anchor point in the van. That was simply to keep her from jumping up and taking off while I was asleep.
Now, I got to ask you this. Was there any sexual activity between you two?
No.
And keep in mind now, we will be able to find out, but I'm asking you now if it's accurate or not. Was there any sexual activity between the two of you?
Yeah.
There was?
Yes, one time, first night. I told her, honey, it wasn't forcible, but of course it was unwanted. So
right.
But it wasn't forcible.
Okay.
And I told her, honey, I told you I was going to let you go. Mm-hmm. You've run me around. You've run me all over North Georgia. Maybe put 150 miles on my van. We still don't. You've lied to me. Give me some. Okay. And she did.
Hilton says that despite being abducted, beaten, and violated, Meredith was enjoying herself.
She's not having a bad time.
Right.
And she's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
She wasn't in mental distress other than any kind of real.
So this.
I was solicitous of her comfort and everything else.
It's hard to know if this is delusion talking or simply another reflection of Hilton's disdain for women.
I mean, the last piece of I had, except for here, was in '89. Was in January of '89, and I never.
You kind of dropped out of the game there.
I was never so happy after I did that. Oh yeah. Well, once you stop getting led around by the, and we all are, all of us are. That's right. That's right. That's why we become less than men. That's why we start doing a woman's agenda. Well, I'm going to tell you something, and you take it from me.
Really?
No, you know what you're being fooled by? You're all being fooled. You're being fooled by a woman's instinct, not her free will. Her instinct is that of nurturing. Mm-hmm. That's because instinctually she raises the kids. And you're being fooled by her nurturing instinct, and she has a soft spot for kids and small furry animals. But I'm going to tell you something. You take it to the bank, pal, and you take it from a guy that begged professionally for over 20 years. The sex that is the most avaricious, accumulative, greedy, and heartless is women.
Hilton seems to detect no irony, delivering this sermon on women before returning to the story of how he kidnapped one.
I determined the next day that I would go to Canton. And one reason I headed in that direction is that I had a person I knew that I thought, a plan B would be to try to get some money from her. She was in that direction. I don't have any money. Mm-hmm. I had $45 on me and spent $30 of my last $45 on gas, so I had no gas, no money. But anyway, that's one reason I headed in Canton to Canton, so I could go on to Cartersville if necessary and try to get some money.
Who is this person that you were going to get money from? If
the person I was calling from the gas station were in Cumming, where the clothes were found. That's the call I was making. She refused me and hung up.
With Meredith thwarting his attempts to steal from her, Hilton says he reached out to a man he used to work for.
Let me ask you this. I know that you made a phone call from Marble Hill also at one point.
You mean from a huddle house?
Right.
That was to my employer, John Tabor, to get to beg my old job back.
Right.
By the time Hilton called Tabor, early descriptions of the man seen with Meredith on Blood Mountain were already circulating through the media. Tabor not only identifies Hilton to the police, he tells Hilton he'll leave a check for him at his office. Police stake out the location, but Hilton never shows.
We all, even guys like myself that are just totally sociopathic, we still need some human to trust.
Right.
Even if we're not close to them.
Right.
To trust them, even if it's a business associate. I called Tabor up and I asked him, I told him I needed money and I wanted to start working again for him. And I was really sincere in trying to start work again for him because I saw that this Robert wasn't getting it because I hadn't gotten any money off her. You know, I hadn't gotten a dime. I had spent money on her. I had $45 to my name and I'd done spent $30 of it driving all over North Georgia trying to work her ATM card on the bogus number she gave me. I've lost money on that deal. If Tabor had said, instead of trying to entrap me, I mean, what's the use of that? I mean, really. Because if they knew who I am, they're going to catch me anyway. It's just, if Tabor had said, hey, Gary, they know it's you. Yeah, they know it's you. They're on to you. They're looking for you now. Because I wasn't in the paper that day. I had joked about it with a girl. This is the second day or third day I'd had her, second or third day I'd had her, and she still wasn't in the paper. I said, you know something, no one's even missed you. And she said, boy, I'd be mad if once you let me go and I came back and my boyfriend said, have you been gone? She said, we were laughing about it because nothing had appeared in the paper.
Hilton manages to avoid the trap Tabor and police set for him, and at least according to him, spent a pleasant day with his victim out in the woods.
Went to Dawson Forest and camped there, and you know, I think we spent 2 nights there because we went hiking the next day. Yeah, we went hiking, we spent 2 days, 2 nights there. And we were 11 degrees outside air temperature there, so I had stoves going. I have, stoves to use as a heater. Mm-hmm. And I had the van going from time to time and keep warm. And we spent 2 nights there because we went hiking one day, the next day. We took both dogs and went hiking along Shoals Creek.
Okay.
We had a good time.
Okay. How did you keep her from running off while you were hiking?
No, I told her, remember 2 things. One, if you bust out through the woods, the pursuer has the advantage. Because the pursued has to break brush. If you bust out running down the road or anywhere else, I'll shoot you down. And I'm a good shot, left or right-handed, because my right hand was up, which I am. And, that was it. So she was not having a bad time at all and enjoying herself on the hike. I could tell that, commenting on how beautiful it was. We hiked for several hours along Shoal Creek.
Again, Hilton is insistent that Meredith was enjoying her time as the victim of a violent kidnapping, a story that doesn't gain believability the more he repeats it. And if his intention is to convince the agents that he has a heart underneath the cruelty, the conclusion to his story erases that possibility.
And then the next day, we got up and told her she was going home. I said, I'm giving you all your stuff back. I had all her stuff backed up together. I made a point of showing her she always helped me load and unload, especially because my hand was messed up. And so in other words, consistent with being kidnapped, she was having a good time, other than, you know what I mean. I won't say she's enjoying it, but she was. Hey, she was into it. It was an experience. She was at ease, totally at ease, relaxed.
Well, let me ask you this: did you guys leave the site you were camping at that point?
No. We're packing up and telling her I'm taking her and I'm going to release her.
Hilton says they left the campsite together, but soon he pulled the van over in another area of Dawson Forest. In between, he says, there was another close call.
And there was a pickup there, and as he drove by, I waved at him. It was law enforcement.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was that close. It was that close. She wasn't even secured either.
Having once again caught a lucky break, Hilton took Meredith to a secluded spot.
Walked her into the woods. Got 2 sleeping bags. I got a mattress for her to sit on, 2 bags to put over her, a length of chain, secured it to a tree, walked back to the van. I'm staggering around by now. You know, I'm had it. I can't even think straight. I'm just staggering, you know. Multiple sclerosis. I'm just staggering. Went, kind of got myself together, made some coffee and everything, walked back. And at that point she said, I was afraid you weren't coming back. I said, glad to see me, and she said, I was afraid you weren't coming back. I gave her a book to read and everything else there.
But he grabbed something else when he was back at his van, an iron bar. At long last, Hilton reveals the horrifying truth. A truth police suspected from the moment they found the bloody clothes in that gas station dumpster.
And I walked up and made as if to unsecure the chain, struck her with the bar.
What bar?
It was a jack handle, just a straight jack handle, the solid iron bar. Struck her with that. She said, no, let me go. Put her hands up. I kept striking her. You'll see some defensive wounds to her hand.
Okay.
She lost consciousness, and I kept striking her till ensure she was dead.
Hilton says that Meredith had to die to ensure his freedom.
Once you've taken someone, you're either going to kill them or you're going to get caught. It's as simple as that. In my situation, look at me. I got the dog, I got the van. I'm me. I'm famous anyway, regardless. And I knew it. Once you've taken someone, you either kill them or you get caught. If you release them, you're going to get caught. I mean, am I right or not? If I would have, sure.
It's math, right?
Well, she's seen the van, she's seen the tag, she's seen the dog, she's seen, all she has to do, they have to put that out, and 10,000 people will be called, including Tabor. He was just the first one, you know. Of course I knew it. You either kill them or you get caught. Of course, I was able to do it because of my general rage against society, of course.
Hilton's rage is evident as he describes what he did next.
Removed her head.
Removed the head.
With a serrated knife, which you probably have in the dumpster, I think.
A serrated knife?
Yeah, like a butcher knife or a kitchen knife, a long...
And that was in the dumpster as well. Was that, I mean, is that difficult to do, to take somebody's head off? I've never seen that done. I mean, is it? I'm not asking for my...
I understand.
Right.
And it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real looking back on it.
I can't imagine a kitchen knife being able to do that. Is what I'm getting at.
This is a knife with a blade this long.
Okay.
That's serrated, and so it's a saw.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It's just sawing. All you got to do is keep sawing, 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 and then get through the joint. It's just like you would. That's what it's made for in the kitchen, to cut up meat.
Right.
Hilton says that his decision to cut Meredith's head off was purely practical.
The only reason, by the way, the head was removed was forensically.
Yeah, right.
In other words, the hair is full of fiber.
Sure.
I poured liquid bleach all over her to any DNA, and I knew bleach would not destroy fibers, but that any DNA she may have picked up from my clothes. She'd been wearing my clothes for now, 3 days?
Right.
Or something, and she, you know. And so I poured liquid bleach over her, and again, this is not done to preclude identification or for any other reason other than at that time I didn't know that I'd even been associated with it. So and I felt, I knew the body would be found sooner or later. A body in here sooner or later is going to come to light.
Okay.
It is. And this is not the first body that's been discarded.
Hilton's last remark seems to go unnoticed, but one could reasonably wonder if the image in his mind at that moment was that of Cheryl Dunlap, whose decapitated body was left in the woods, just like Meredith's.
Then I left, headed south to that gas station where I made the call to try to get some money. I'm down to, I think it was $18, something like that. I'm getting low on glass.
This was incoming?
Yeah, that gas station. I took her dog with me, and I found a location where I knew the dog would be okay. It's a bustling center.
Right.
And I knew that the dog would be picked up. And I also knew the dog was microchipped.
How'd you know that?
She told me. If I wanted to ensure that no one would associate the dog with her, I would have killed the dog.
Right.
But there's no way I could do that.
Right.
The investigators are left to wonder how it is that the serial murderer before them draws the line at the killing of a dog. But perhaps it's right in line with his life story. The ruthless wanderer with no regard for anyone other than his one trusted companion.
He's my boy. He's my baby.
Memory's probably gonna go any second. This is Tucker, yes, once more before we die. Totally Tucker. Yeah, me and the boy will run them this October. 92 almost daily. Yep, sure were. But we are having a good time.
Dandy ends up being adopted by Nancy from the public defender's office, who told Iwu that the dog picked up some disturbing habits in his travels with Hilton.
He would stalk people when we were walking. He would get behind a tree, for instance, and he would watch people. And I would tell him, we're not doing that. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that. Come on, we're not doing that anymore.
After letting Meredith's dog free and coming, Hilton realized that he was a wanted man.
If I had bought a paper that morning on Friday instead of that afternoon, she would have been alive. Because there my pictures on the front page, a color picture on the front page of the AJC, looking for me and everything. I wouldn't have killed her. I mean, for Pete's sake, no.
Hilton was arrested only a few hours later at the Chevron in DeKalb County. But while the manhunt was finished, the story was far from over.
Was this difficult for you at all to do this? As far as take her life, was it difficult at all? I mean, do you have feelings one way or the other about it, or were you just needed her for a necessity for you?
No, but it was like an out-of-body experience.
Okay.
It was surrealistic. Of course it's surrealistic. Removing a head is just unreal.
Right.
Unreal. Mm-hmm. And, you look back on it and you say, that wasn't even real. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was. I was just in... You might say an altered state. Okay. I just don't know. It was hard.
Okay.
It was hard.
Okay.
It was hard. You got to remember, we had spent several good days together, actually.
Right.
Actually, she did not have a unpleasant time.
But Hilton says that he knew from the beginning how Meredith's story would end.
I'm going to tell you right now, there was never any plan to let her go.
Okay.
I knew that if I let her go, I would be instantly ID.
Once you've done it, you're either going to kill her or get caught. There's no other solution. It's not going to, And that sounds cold and cruel. Yeah, it was.
Hilton's confession is thorough, but it comes at a high price. They agree to take the death penalty off the table in exchange for Hilton's guilty plea, his full confession, and one final piece of information they need to bring closure to this horrific case.
What I'd like to do is let you now tell us where the body is and try to direct us to it the best you can, and because it's very important that we locate the body as soon as we can this evening.
Hilton points out the exact spot in Dawson Forest on a map, but says the investigators may have a difficult search ahead of them.
It's going to be a little hard to find. You're going to need a dog for this, I believe.
Can you help us?
Well, I'll help you.
Okay.
It's uncomfortable for me to go there, though. But I understand. If I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you.
Hilton overcomes his discomfort and leads the investigators to Meredith's body, though they run into some minor complications on the drive.
That's not media, is it? Oh, shit. Now, how in the hell are they down here?
Oh, man. Jesus Christ.
It's an indication of how much publicity this case has gotten, publicity that Hilton is only too aware of.
I'm infamous.
You are?
My God. I mean, I've read a little of the news that my lawyers brought me a little bit, but almost, I don't really want to read it. It's true to curl your hair, man. They don't understand that except for this rampage, I was the injured party. I kid you not. And all of society trying to get me in trouble. If they had their way, they would tell lies to the cop. the cop would arrest me and send me to the penitentiary, take my dog away, and ruin my life just because they don't want to be wrong. Okay? It's as simple as that. You talk about cruel and heartless, man. And you talk about, hey, kill. You start getting that thing, you just rage against society.
Hilton may be disgruntled with some of the coverage, but he also seems to take a certain pride in it, such as when he recounts how he handled the perp walk.
Did you see the way did you see it on TV? Oh yeah, running. I'm the one that wants to do that. You see, I was leading them. And they'll open that door, another one will open that door, and I'm the one that just dives in head first, So kind of like a Hollywood celebrity that's been bad and now is trying to, you see what I mean? The more you limit it, the bigger demand it makes. Now, if I'd have come walking out like Eric Rudolph, they'd have said, well, he's a schmuck is all he is. But when I come, right, an idiot. But, when I come running out there and then dive into the car wearing the vest, it's a mistake.
The cops and the press gathered near Dawson Forest away, and Hilton takes the investigators to the exact location of Meredith's body, only to reveal that he placed her head and clothing in a separate area down the road.
Hi. As we walk, I'm going to ask you a couple more things, okay, if you don't mind. You said that there was one sexual encounter.
Yeah.
Was that the only one?
Yeah.
There wasn't anything post-mortem, right?
No.
Okay.
Meredith Emerson's autopsy reveals a wide range of serious injuries consistent with Hilton's story. In addition to post-mortem chemical burns from the bleach, the medical examiner finds contusions and several broken bones. It's determined that she died of massive crushing head injuries, having been struck at least 19 times with a blunt instrument. At the site of her body in Dawson Forest, Hilton is asked one last question.
This the first time you ever done anything like this before?
Hilton's lawyer advises him not to answer, but soon enough investigators will know the truth. Hilton's reign of terror didn't begin with Meredith Emerson or even with Cheryl Dunlap in Florida.
When did your rampage begin? Can I ask you that? I mean...
Yeah, hunting.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I started hunting in September.
A federal investigation will reveal that on October 21, 2007, a retired couple visiting Pisgah National Forest in North Carolina had the misfortune of running into Gary Hilton. In a recent interview, Hilton said that he spotted John and Irene Bryant as they got out of their car, accosted them, and demanded their credit cards. When John Bryant refused, Hilton says he beat him with his police baton and pepper sprayed him. Irene tried to then attack Hilton with her walking stick, and he knocked her to the ground with the baton as well, and ultimately murdered her right there in the forest. Her body was discovered a month later, but John's whereabouts remained a mystery for months.
My attorneys informed me this morning that they had found a body in North Carolina. They found a skull and a pelvis, and it's off of Old Murphy Road, and it's on a Forest Service road. And they found the body, so maybe he's no longer missing.
After kidnapping John Bryant and getting $300 out of his bank account, Hilton drove him to the Nantahala National Forest and shot him in the head.
One may say, well, you're the one that chose to make money by killing. There's other ways to make money. There's bank robbery and so forth. Well, in retrospect, I regret not attempting a bank robbery. I really do. Because all of this shit got me nowhere but caught.
The authorities aren't able to precisely put his death on an exact date, but it happened relatively quickly because Hilton was alone 5 days after the Bryants vanished when that Cherokee County deputy rolled up on the afternoon of October 26th.
What you doing out here? Well, you're the fourth person that's come along. Am I? And ask me that. If there's deer hunters around there, I can be wearing a purple shirt, that red backpack, and they're going to tell me I'm going to get shot. But, that's a common threat. They're very particular. I understand. Well, can I get your ID real quick? Yeah, you sure can. And it's in a, you see that fanny pack right there? Yeah. Are there any weapons in that fanny pack? Absolutely not, and I'm going to bring it to you. Okay. So are you a hiker or long-distance camper or hiker? Hiker. I love the walls, though. Hey, check it out, man. Do you need anything else there? Or? No, I'm just going to run this, make sure nobody wants you, and then probably just tell you to get your stuff and get out of here. I'm trying. I'm just... What, you want to finish packing up, doing what you're getting your stuff together? I'm going to go run this real quick, and then I'll let you get out of here. Thank you. Get away from him. You're loose. Just I know, but you know, police officers get nervous around dogs. And I'm
if she was going to
cognizant.
do something, she would have already done it, and she's in Thomas speaking.
I just hesitate to break the law standing in front of a police officer. And he's not on a leash.
Mr. Hilton, nobody wants you.
Well, if they do, it's popped up in the last 6 hours or whatever.
Right.
12 hours because they were running me on 20 thinking I'm drunk. Now they're in here thinking I'm going to take one of their deer.
Because Gary's crimes took place on National Forest land, he's in danger of federal prosecution, a risk he brought up several times when talking to Georgia investigators.
Well, I'm going to dig my heels in. I don't want federal custody. They're going to send me to Supermax. I just know they are. So it's where they send the notorious, infamous people.
Well,
okay, they're sending mine to Supermax now.
Well, I mean, it's debatable on who calls you notorious and who calls you, you know, just a mad guy.
Hilton's guilty plea in the Meredith Emerson case sends the wheels of justice spinning rapidly. He's sentenced to life in prison for the murder on January 31st, 2008, less than a month after his arrest.
When you're going out to kill somebody, if you're seen by a single other person on the trail, then that day's screwed. But when you procrastinate because you don't want to get up and kill someone, and you let it go and you say, I won't kill anyone today. We'll just go hiking with my dog, have fun. We're doomed anyway. And so you get down to the point where, well, it was like Meredith. I had $40 money and several days food. I was going to have to kill somebody in that period of time. Okay? And when you get down to the bitter end, you ignore all the rules you set. Part of it is I'm curious. You know, if as an artist and as a sociopath, if you're doing this, you would like to select your victims on an artistic sense. But when you get down, you procrastinate and you hit someone's got to fall. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, I want to know them and to see what, you know, who I have got, rather than just a faceless person you're going to kill. Again, I'm remorseful over Meredith because just for the fact that, if nothing else, she drove a Chevy Cavalier. I can't tell you how much I respect that.
Why is that?
Why, yep, he's going to drive a little cheap white Chevy Cavalier. I asked her why, and she told me sensible reasons and everything. I respected her to no end for that.
Yeah.
She didn't have a brain in her head, but hey, neither do you either. And sure, her life was just stupid, but the thing is, it was full, and she was happy at it.
Hilton was indicted in federal court for the murders of John and Irene Bryant in 2011, and he ultimately pled guilty. He received 4 consecutive life sentences in 2013.
Listen, there's no way I can make it on the outside. I've told you before, I'd have to turn right around, walk back in here. I'd have no place to go, nothing to do.
But there's one more murder for which Hilton is being prosecuted, and the district attorney in Leon County, Florida, is determined to get justice for the death of Cheryl Dunlap.
But you tell them I'll fight it all the way, and if they want to spend $10 million to try to execute a man who's not going to live long to get executed, hey, just bring it the hell on. But I ain't going to lay down for it.
Hilton pleads not guilty in Florida, which means he will go before a jury for the first time. And in addition to hearing the physical and circumstantial evidence tying Hilton to Cheryl's murder, they will hear from Hilton himself in the form of the recordings he made with Dandy.
I've gained 20 pounds in 3 months, 3 or 4 months. 171 pounds. Right. You don't get any.
But it's not Hilton's seeming attempt at a video blog that prosecutors want the jury to see. It's a recording from December 3rd, 2007, only 2 days after Cheryl Dunlap went missing.
We'll get some good one of these days, boy. She wouldn't be good at it. That one there. That one there, she was. See, I had stuff hidden. We had it hidden. We had the stuff. There's a gun. There's guns hidden. I killed them with it. That silver. Going down here, and we're going to the park. Yeah, gonna go have a good time. Go to the park. Yeah. But first, I gotta go hide it somewhere else.
The jurors also hear mention of a man named Samuel Rail, who was Hilton's lawyer and friend in the 1980s. Rail told Florida investigators that Hilton had been an advisor on a low-budget thriller he produced called Deadly Run. Hilton, he said, was the one who came up with the movie's premise: a serial killer who releases women into the woods so he can hunt them down and kill them like prey. Despite all this, Hilton appears to be confident about his chances when he spoke to another prisoner in the Leon County Jail.
Man, the guy chopped a woman up, killed her dog up in Georgia and all that too, ain't you? Yeah, man, so you crazy or what? No, not crazy. I looked at him, he's got a little evil grin. I said, you gonna play the crazy card, ain't you?
But the evidence against Hilton is powerful. Investigators have found Cheryl Dunlap's DNA in Hilton's van, and while they were never able to positively identify the bone fragments from the